Hello, welcome back to my allotment at the end of October on this really gorgeous autumn day. Unlike yesterday when it was pouring it down with rain and we had lots of gusty winds, it wasn't really the ideal weather for filming, but today, thank goodness, it's really improved and it's a really nice day. Blue skies, sunshine, and it's not too cold either. October's actually been a really lovely month in terms of the weather. We've had a mixed bag of some rainy, showery days, but also some really quite mild, warm days. And it's not too cold. Temperatures are definitely dropping. It's probably an average of about 13 degrees in the daytime at the moment. But we haven't had a frost, which means we've still got the strawflowers, the dahlias are still hanging on, and we've still got lots of blooms. So the plot's still quite colourful, despite all the leaves dropping and everything else starting to turn brown and a bit mushy. So yeah, the seasons are definitely changing. Autumn is here, and I'm so glad to be able to share the plot with you on this gorgeous day. I haven't actually been too busy on the plot this month. I've done a bit of tidying up, I've planted some of the garlic, and my spring bulbs have arrived. I haven't planted those yet, and I thought you might like to see them in a separate video maybe. Let me know if you do. So I've just been actually taking time to rest a little bit this month because I've had such a busy year on the allotment, doing all the different little projects, and you know, with the weight of the world, everything that's going on at the minute, it's important to take time for yourself and to rest. So I've been taking a few days just to recuperate, and but that doesn't mean there's not a lot to do. In fact, I'll show you at the end of this video. I've got lots of jobs lined up for November, so I'll be going over those separately because there might not be quite as much to see on the plot today. Everything's starting to die back for autumn, but I'm so pleased that we have seasons here in the UK and that we have an autumn, because I know not everywhere does. They might just have a wet season and a dry season. So we get this beautiful change of colours, lots of golds, and my plot's looking quite yellow at the moment. I don't get that burst of red that some places get, but yeah, I'm just so pleased that we do get the change of seasons. I'm not quite so pleased about the lack of daylight. In fact, today the clocks went backwards an hour, which means it now gets dark at about 5 o'clock from today, which means I can't get to the allotment after work, which is quite sad because, you know, I do enjoy popping here for an hour or two once I finish my shift, and so I won't be able to do that anymore, but that's all just part of the change in seasons. It means I won't have as much time on the plot, and it'll be focused probably on one day a week. So the jobs that I do need to get done, I won't have as much time to do them. So yeah, everything's going to start slowing down, but it's still quite exciting. You know, we've got bulbs to plant for spring, and there's still so much to look forward to and plan for next year. Well, I think it's time I got up to the gate, and oh, I need to take my trug with me as well because I want to harvest some beetroot today. I want to pickle a lot of that for the winter months. So let's go and start the tour. You can see the hawthorn tree starting to lose all of its leaves, going that lovely yellow colour. And we go down to my gate. Let's see how it's looking. Oh, that glorious sunshine. Such a gorgeous day. That blue sky. And also, can you see the difference? My hedge has been significantly reduced. I made a start on it, and then my neighbours on the other side, they did their part too. So now it's really made a difference to the entrance of the allotment, made it so much brighter around here. I've still got a little bit to do at the bottom end, but look at that. We've also reduced the hawthorns. We had some sort of trees that were down there, so we've reduced that as well. Well, that wind's starting to pick up, but down by the pond area everything's starting to turn rather brown and crispy. The hosta definitely needs dividing real soon before all of this foliage disappears, and I remember how big it is. Look how yellow that's gone. But yes, I'm going to divide this probably only in half. I don't want to take it into quarters or thirds, and yes, I definitely need to do that and put that on my list. Take a look at the gorgeous colour of this blueberry, that intense red. It's amazing. I do have 2 in this very large pot, and I need to separate them once they go dormant for winter and give them more room to grow. But the Sarracenia, that one's still looking great, showing lots more colour in these autumn months. And also the Erigeron, still got a few more daisies on there. Most of the cosmos on this one have now gone over. I have, however, collected a lot of the seeds before they all turn to mush in the rain, so I'm definitely going to be growing this one again. Oh, but no more blooms. Oh wait, there is just one last bloom, look. Oh, I do love this colour. Ah, I just destroyed it, sorry. Oh well. Can you see that? It's still absolutely covered in black fly. Because we haven't had a frost, it's not killed them all off yet. I had to move my gooseberry away from its usual spot near the hedge, because obviously I needed to trim it. And look at all the colour. I love gooseberry leaves for autumn. A really nice peachy pinky colour at the moment. Oh, my leeks. Well, it's not such good news for the leeks. Can you see all of that yellowing? They've got rust pretty bad now, and I knew it was going to happen, didn't I? But I think what I'll probably do is batch harvest them and freeze them, because I've got suspicions that they've also got the allium leaf miner. You can see those white marks. Let me find another example. Like this one here, can you see how it's all twisted and really distorted? That is a telltale sign of the allium leaf miner pest that burrows into the leek and lots of other allium family. And so I need to harvest these in the next few weeks and just see how bad the damage is, harvest what I can and freeze it. But yeah, it's not a great year for rust. But otherwise, the leeks, you know, they're still a really good size. So these are ready to all come out. And I'll probably harvest them next month. Just behind them, we've got the Honesty seed heads, those telltale coin discs. I could have dried them and used them to display at home, but I kind of left them here, hoping that they'll self-seed and I'll have more plants down at this end next year. I can't get over how much better it is with that hedge reduced. I can actually see over to my neighbouring plot. That's a display garden that's open as a community garden. And yeah, so we've still got this bit to do. And unfortunately I will lose some of those rose hips. But I will probably save them in the shed so I can use them for my winter Christmas wreaths. Down in these strawberry cages, they're getting some real autumn colours on them now. One job I need to do is to thin them out, because they send off lots of runners, lots of little baby strawberry plants, and I've got too many in here now, so they all need giving a little bit more room to grow so that we still have a nice successful crop next year. The sweet corn have all been harvested now, and I'm so pleased with how well they've done this year, because this has been my most successful year for sweet corn. And look at all that Erigeron still going. The sunflowers, all the little side shoots, the little suckers, are blooming as well now. The rhubarb is looking very sad. That's died back now for winter, and I'll move those leaves onto the compost bin, and we mulch the plants so that we've got a good crop for next year. It's all a bit of a mess down this end with all of my clippings from the hedge, but most of the raspberries have now finished. I haven't got many left on here to pick, which is a shame because there's such a nice sweet fruit. Oh look, there's another gold one left. Let's see if it's ripe. Oh yeah. There's a few gold ones. Oh, a bit sour. The apple tree is also starting to drop its leaves, going very yellow. And down into the wildlife corner, well, we've got some dahlias in bloom. I've also put out this blue dish of water because I realised I didn't have any water on the ground for things like hedgehogs. We still have lots of flowers over here, including that beautiful white Purity Cosmos. And my new dahlias for this year, I think that one must be the bronze one. I do love to fill the plot with lots of late autumn colour and nectar for all of the bumblebees and pollinators, because they still need food too. And whilst I'm here, actually, I want to talk about my hedge here at the back, because over that corner we've got a mix of bramble and ivy. There we have a very big ball of ivy. Sorry, the light is not quite so great here. And behind the shed I've got 2 yews that run into ivy as well, and I'm actually going to chop it all a lot lower, I think. There'll still be plenty more areas for the birds to nest. I have robins that nest quite low down, but it'll give me a great view over the city if I reduce this quite significantly. So that's the plan for probably winter time, to be honest. Still got strawflowers, they're still holding on. I've harvested so many to dry at home, and I promise you that the strawflower special video will be out in the next couple of weeks. This bed has been so productive with blooms this year. It's an entirely new bed that I didn't have last year, so I'm absolutely thrilled to bits. It's one of my favourite little projects for this year. Underneath my shed, the new perennial border is looking rather filled out now, settling in. I only planted it out the other month. Those pansies are lovely bright orange. Ooh, did you hear that? And we come to my salad bed. This has also done really well this year. We've got lots of chard, some chives, spring onions, the beetroot, which I need to pick. And look at that peppermint chard. The colour of that, isn't it incredible? Oh, the foliage is starting to get a little bit wet from all that rain we had yesterday. But look at that, that's a great size, bright orange, golden beetroot. Gorgeous. And obviously I can roast these, and I prefer to roast them before I pickle them to get all that flavour out and that sweetness. Although that one's quite huge, look at that! That's amazing. There's a smaller one there. And I multi-sowed these the Charles Dowding way. Ooh, might even make some soup with some of these. Done really well. And this is the Bolt Hardy and also the Moulin Rouge. Moving round, my cannas are still surviving. I should probably move these into the polytunnel at some point, but look, we've got a second flower stem on this dark one that has the bright red flowers. This one has already died back, but these need to dry off a little bit really before I overwinter them. But because they're in such a really big, heavy galvanized tank, I'm gonna need a hand moving that. So yeah, but that'll be moved into the polytunnel, and then I'll overwinter these probably in my basement. I think I haven't thought too much about that yet. My trellis, well, we've still got some clematis hanging on, and also, oh, let me show you what I'm really looking forward to. Down here in the bottom corner, this is my winter flowering clematis called Winter Beauty, And just the other day I noticed something quite exciting. Can you see it? Those little white specks there are the flower buds that will soon become beautiful white scented bells that will hang down, and the bees, if they're about in the middle of winter, will absolutely love them. And this is probably what I'm looking forward to most over the winter, as well as my parsnips. I just can't wait to watch this come into bloom. And it's done really well to fill out that bottom corner, and it'll grow quite a bit more and hopefully cover most of that area of the frame. The honeysuckle, we've got a few lingering blooms, but otherwise that's gone over now. Look at those there right at the top, just hanging on. That Fatsia looks amazing at the moment, and it looks like got some flower stalks down there in the middle. It's a fantastic evergreen, give you a nice big foliage, that tropical look as well, although it keeps getting covered in leaves at the moment, as is the floor. I mean, look at it. This is all from the damson tree above me. Lots of leaf litter. Gonna collect lots of leaves soon. It's time to make leaf mould. Oh, I went to the garden centre the other week and I bought this, which I haven't yet planted, if we can focus. And when I went to the polytunnel where this was kept at the garden centre, it was absolutely covered in bees, and I mean they were swarming. That's what it's called. It's a Caryopteris, and this one is called Q Blue. And it's just great to have some flowers that carry on into the cooler months for all of the pollinators. And I only bought it because the bees were covered in it. Wow, I just want to turn around at this bottom corner. I don't often look at the view from this side, but look, I can't get over the hedge. It looks so much brighter over there. You can see we've got quite a few bare patches now. I've got some more beetroot and chard in here to harvest, but I'm going to leave them for today. I've got enough with me that I've harvested. My parsnips, oh, I'm so keen to harvest some of these, but I like to leave it until we've had a frost, because the frost helps turn the starch into sugar, so it makes them a lot sweeter. And you also have to be really careful with the foliage. Somebody on Instagram, I can't remember who it was now, was it Mrs. Bees? It can bring some people with sensitive skin up in a rash, so just be very careful if you have sensitive skin not to touch the foliage too much. By the way, look at that, there's a few more monster turnips in there. Thank you for all your recipe suggestions, by the way. I'm in the process of still using it up. It's surviving really well despite being harvested and stored at home. I'm going to dehydrate them. I might try fermenting some. Here are the celeriac. They haven't grown that much this month. We're not going to get a great size on harvesting, I don't think, but I don't mind. It's still quite a new crop for me, this one. Oh my god, honestly, look at that. It's a beast. That's even bigger than the other one. This is ridiculous. I don't think I should grow these again because I just forget to harvest them. Down at the side border, oh, poor Penhill watermelon dahlia has just become completely flopped over from all the rain that we have. It's quite a big heavy bloom actually, on a very thin stem, but the weight is just pulling it over after the rain yesterday. The courgette plants are well and truly done now, covered in mildew, but that's okay. It's just what happens at this time of the year, and that's all fine to put in your compost bin. So that's what I'll be doing. Look, I did have one or two left on there, but the slugs got right into them. And they are trying to produce, look, oh my gosh. We still have a few more teeny tiny courgettes, about the size of my little finger. This is a bed that needs clearing now. Everything's gone over. Clearing, weeding, and then mulching for winter. And this is where my squash grew. I've cut all them back, put them in the compost bin, took away the the little teepee wigwam frame that I had, and this is where I've planted some of the garlic. Some of that's already gone in. I've got 2 rows in and about another 4 or 5 to go. This is going to be an entire garlic bed for next year. Fingers crossed we have a good year. It's not always a great crop for me, but I'm crossing my fingers because I've got great bulbs from the garlic shop, garlic farm. So let's hope for a better year. But look, here we are, the dahlias in this gorgeous afternoon sunshine. This could be the last month, guys. Hate to break it to you, but they'll soon be gone. As soon as Jack Frost pays a visit, I'll knock them back, and then it'll be time to lift them and store them for winter. I want to move some of these around yet again, so I'm not going to leave them in, which I could risk, but I want to move them. I don't want to lose them if we have a particularly wet winter like we did last year. Oh, my absolute favourite. Isn't she a beauty? You know her name by now, right? Wizard of Oz. Oh, she's just so symmetrical, so perfect. Gorgeous. I'm actually drying some now as well. They don't have a really long vase life on them, although the Wizard of Oz does have the best of all of my Dahlia collection. But I'm drying some, and they keep their colour and they look really textured once you dry them. Okay, let's head into the polytunnel for the end of October at 2:25. And here we are at the start of the month. I took down all of the tomato plants, harvested the last remaining that were there to crop. My canaries is still in here, you saw that there last month. I've still got a couple of chilli plants. Oh, these sugar rush chilies really are taking a long time to ripen this year. And I think with the cooler nights, I'm just going to harvest what's left now and take them home to ripen further, and hopefully with the warmth indoors, that'll help them speed along. But I've set up my little potting table, my stool, with all my compost mixes below. And what have we got up here? Well, I've pricked out and potted up some foxgloves. When I went to Chatsworth for my birthday, they very kindly gave me a little pot of apricot foxgloves, so I potted those up. And some nigella, love in a mist. Has beautiful blue, sometimes white flowers. So I'm excited to grow those this year. And a little propagation of the erigeron, that's the daisy flower that you see everywhere. That's one of the little seedlings. It self-seeds everywhere. Oh, and I've also got a carob tree. I don't think I've shown you this yet, but one of my plot neighbours gave it to me. So thank you very much. I'm not sure where it's going to go yet. I think it might get quite big, so I'm just going to grow it on for a while and see how that does. We've also got a lavender propagation and another erigeron there. But I moved my little succulent dish indoors because it was so wet and I didn't want them to drown. And this might have a little bit of a rework. That one's going to die off because it's bloomed. Once they bloom, they tend to die off, but they don't all bloom at the same time, so these ones are still good. I love the way that the sedum is sort of trailing over the front. And down in the back corner we've got my small fig. This was a gift from a plot neighbour. It's also got, look, lots more erigeron there that I can pot up and plant somewhere else. Can't remember the name of this one. Ficus Mandolin de Dieu. Guessing that's a French one. And we've also moved in my Vietnamese coriander because this is not a hardy herb. I want to propagate it, take some cuttings, and I might keep those at home just in case this doesn't come back. But it's just in here to protect it from the cooler nights for now. And I've got lots more chilies. These ones I'm actually, well, they started to dry because I hadn't watered the plants. And I'm just going to let them dry either on the plant or harvest and take them home today. Because I'll be drying these ones anyway. That's the Bubba chili. Oh, look at this one. Covered in lots of orangey yellow, tiny little chilies. Bequino yellow. And look who else has finally ripened. It's the Bohemian goat chili. This is similar to the Scotch bonnet, so it's going to be quite hot on the Scoville scale. And I'm really excited because these are my only sort of habaneros this year. I regret not growing more. I've grown a few too many that are quite mild, including this one. RG Fantasy, doesn't have any heat to it, this one, so I won't be growing it again. And then my fish pepper. Kind of losing its stripes now that they're fully ripening, but these all need harvesting, and we've also got more peppers to harvest. So yeah, that's the last of the chilies and peppers, and I said I was going to take them home but I didn't get round to it. My squash have been curing here in the polytunnel, but it's time to take them home. Halloween's just around the corner, and it'd be nice to put these in my home as decorations for the last of the autumn weather. So that's how the polytunnel is for the end of October. I might start doing a bit more seed sowing, we shall see, but I don't tend to grow too much on the allotment over the winter months. Now it really does feel like autumn. Somebody's got a bonfire burning. So here is the allotment at the end of October in 2020. Oh, that hedge looks great. So that's how the plot is looking at the end of October, and now we're stepping into November and there's lots of things to do, so I thought I'd go over some of the jobs that I have planned for next month. Number one on the list is to start collecting leaves and to make leaf mould. Now leaf mould is a very slow process. It can take a year, sometimes two, to crumble down into this really nice textured, humusy, rich mould. Leaf mould is like a compost, and you can use that to mulch your beds or for seed sowing. I don't use it for at least a year or two, but it's just such a great resource, and I'm going to start collecting those leaves, bagging them up into black bin liners and just poking holes in the bottom, and then storing them right at the bottom of the plot out the way until I'm ready to use them in a year or so. Number two, I got to plant my spring bulbs. I've ordered some tulips, some crocus, lots of other things as well, and I'm going to make a bulb lasagna so that one pot can give me lots of blooms throughout the spring months. Number three is it's time to mulch our beds. I do not want to leave my soil bare for winter, and it's really important that we don't do that, otherwise it can suffer lots of erosion from the rain and the winds. So I'm going to cover it with a layer of compost, or you can use well rotted manure. You can even use cardboard, and you can stop the weeds from growing as well by using even just clippings. If you've got lots of clippings, you can just do the chop and drop method, where you chop it down and then just leave it on top of the soil, anything, so it doesn't stay bare over winter. Seed sowing, I'm going to start sowing a few sweet peas. I'm not sure if they'll survive. I might get mice that come and nibble them. That's happened before. But I want to get some seeds in, such as my sweet peas, and I might try some broad beans as well. I've also got a few things like herbs to sow at home, so I've got a constant supply of basil. The dahlias, how can I forget the dahlias? It's that time of the year where we need to think about whether we're going to lift them and store them somewhere cool and dark over winter, or are we going to mulch them heavily and fingers crossed they survive the winter months. I'm going to be lifting most of mine this year because I want to move them around again. If you want a video on that, please let me know. That's something I need to do next month. And also, if I get time, I want to thin out my strawberry beds because they're all getting a little bit cramped from all those runners that they send off during the summer months. They divide themselves and multiply so rapidly that we need to give them more room to grow. So I'll be dividing some of those if I get time. It's not going to be a priority though, because I really need to do all of those other jobs first. And finally, I need to finish off getting my garlic in, and that will happen probably in the next week or so. So that's my jobs for November. Well, thank you very much again for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what future videos you want to see over the winter months, because let's face it, there's not going to be much to show you on the tours. So if there's any extra information or tips that we can go over, please let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for all of your comments and your likes and subscribes. Really do appreciate it. Thank you very much again for watching. I'll see you next time.